y'all, it's Hope here at Crafty Hope, and welcome. I am working in this little junk journal that I made, gosh, last year sometime. I keep saying I'm going to show you how I made it, but I kind of want to finish this one first so I can see how it holds up before I share with you how to make it. So anyway, I recorded this journal process on the first day of 2025, kind of going into it thinking I was going to make art journaling a daily practice. And y'all, I have to say I've completely failed. I know. It's February now, isn't it? I think this is going up February 1st. So, maybe I can make it a goal for February. In any case, I went into this just kind of wanting to play, doing something simple, and you can tell by the time of this one that it is exactly what I did, was something simple. And I had this idea in my head for like an intention for the year and that kind of thing. So I'm starting with a little bit of collage. You saw I had a folder with some collage bits in it. I think that's what the folder even says. Pulled out a few things because I tested the thickness of that book page that's there, and it seemed kind of thin and maybe needed a little something on it. So I'm using fluid matte medium and a silicone spreader tool. Y'all, I have sped this up quite a bit because it really is just me putting a little fluid medium down and then putting down a piece of collage paper. So I'm going to get all of this done, and I will say that most of these papers, even though I took a minute to figure out what I wanted to use, are not going to be seen. I try not to cover them up too much, especially when they're kind of precious, like this little bit with handwriting on it. I don't really want to cover that up a whole lot, but sometimes it just adds to the texture. It adds to the background. So when you see the close-ups of this at the end of this video, you can see little snatches of some of the stuff that's on it, because the next thing I'm going to do here after I dry all of that fluid medium is put a little bit of gesso down. Now, as I am wont to do, I do put down probably a bit more than I really want to. But my purpose in this is to really kind of make these papers a bit more cohesive. Maybe like that upper left corner had that bit of really darkness to them, and I didn't really want it to be so dark. So once I spread that out with my brayer, thinking, okay, that'll make it a little more organic, I realized that was a lot more gesso than I absolutely needed. So I did use a key card or something to try to spread it out a little bit, but yeah, y'all can see I covered it up quite a bit. I am coming in then with some color. This is a Lindy Stamp Gang spray, was the first one. I believe that's, something teal. I can't think of it. It's one of my favorite colors. And then that second one was a Distress Oxide spray in Cracked Pistachio. Oh my gosh. So I decided I needed, besides these blues and greens, maybe to add a bit of pink in here. So I've got my Jane Davenport Brights watercolor palette here, and you can see I'm putting down that super bright pink. It's not doing a whole lot, so what I do grab here is some alcohol spray that I made. And I'll put a link in the upper right to the video of basically how I make those sprays. But those are permanent, and so I did put a little bit of that in the pink, I believe, on there, and it doesn't move very much, but that watercolor does move. So everything got real wet, so I dried it pretty well, and then I'm going to come back in with my distress sprayer and spritz a little bit of water on there. You can see I let it sit for a second because the watercolor, the Distress Oxide, and the Lindy's are all water reactive and will lift. So I spritzed that water and lifted it to kind of reveal a bit of the gesso that's behind it. But I decided I wanted to bring in a little bit more of that pink. So I splattered some more of that watercolor pink on there. And I don't let it sit for just a second, and I'm going to end up picking it up as well. You'll see, I'll get that same paper towel there. And I gave it a second, thinking maybe the edges would dry or something, but it really just lifted up more of those water reactive materials. And then so I splatter a bit more on there, and then I'll just dry it with my heat tool. you, like I said, this was a super quick jump in here art journal. As a reminder, it doesn't take, I think my drying time is what took the most with this. There is something here at the end that took a little bit of time, but um, I knew what I wanted to say. And so I decided it was going to be partly typewritten and partly hand lettered. So right in the middle of it, I wanted the word create. And I'm using one of the Pentel pocket brush pens to write the word create. I really should have maybe drawn a line or penciled it in, but no, I decided not to be too fussy and just dove right in and wrote the word create, trying to keep the letters about the same height. I don't think I do a great job. I think those last couple letters are probably a little bit smaller than like that C at the start, but it's okay. It's okay. This is just art for me in my art journal. So once I get that, I do step over to my typewriter. You can see that's just another page from a book that I like the age of it. Typed up the words, envision the life you want to, and then create. And then below that, it's going to say, okay, so it says envision the life you want to create, and that create is there, the life you envision. So I can't, it's hard to explain that. But I did misspell the word envision and it said enviven. So I went back to my typewriter and typed up that one again. So I trimmed down, I'm going to speed this up again because this is going to get kind of fiddly. I'm cutting down each of the words and I'm going to ink them all. So first I'm going to do the top one, which is envision the life you want to. And then, like I said, it says create, then the life you envision. So I'm doing that top part and I'm going to use, I can't remember right this second. It's going to be a ink blending tool and some distress ink, but I can't remember which color I use until I pull out my dauber, and then I'll know. That is going to be black soot, which makes sense since I used the since I used the black ink to write the word create on there. So I'm going to take a bit of time to ink each of these, all four sides of each of these tiny little fragile pieces of old book page, and then stick it down with an Oohoo glue stick. So in just a second, I'm going to speed this up. But I'd been doing a lot of thinking about here I did do some scribbles because I needed a little more movement in the background, and I just used a pencil to make those scribbles. But I've been doing a lot about thinking about what was the life as a kid that I thought I would be living, and what kind of house and what kind of decorations, because I'm one of those people that I kind of haven't inherited a bunch of stuff, or I have a lot of things that people have given me, or I've bought cheap things just to get by, and I've never, as much of an artist as I am, I've never really thought about creating that vision in my actual life. So I'm trying to remind myself that if you want art on every stitch of wall in my house, then do it. Create that life. Do it. Because, excuse me, y'all, I've got a frog in my throat. Because nobody else is going to do it for me. I am the one that's going to have to create that life that I have envisioned. So, take some time, envision what it is you want in your life, and then go out and try to at least create part of that vision. And that's kind of what I was trying to say on here. So I've got all of that stuck down. I'm going to go ahead and date it because, like I said, I thought I was going to do this daily, and I wanted a record that this is what I was thinking of the first of this year. So that is this pretty quick art journal page. Let's say that I'm not doing so great with this, but maybe February will be better. January's been kind of cuckoo bananas. So I hope that you have enjoyed this. And if you have any questions for me or anything at all, please ask below in the comments. And I will see y'all later with some more art and creativity. Thanks for watching. Bye.